Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and notifications button for all the good stuff we've got coming.
My entry into Detroit Repertory Theater was in 2014 with the production of Brother of All by a playwright named Jim Henry. Um, Walking into Detroit Rep was sort of my feeling of being like, okay, this is kind of like the big time. By that time, I had been acting professionally in Michigan for maybe 3 years out of college. But this was my first time working at an equity professional house as an adult actor. Um, it was my first time being trusted to sort of figure out as an adult actor what to do with a 10-minute monologue on stage. That is one thing I'll say about each show that I've done at the Rep. It has challenged me as an actor in ways that I never expected. But also one of the things that I do love about the Rep is that it has given me opportunities as an actor that I don't think any other theater around here would. And Brother of All was one of those. Um, Immediately, I was lucky enough to sort of get launched into the history of Detroit Rep because on Brother of All, I happened to work with both Harold Hogan and the phenomenal, amazing, spectacular, wonderful. I don't have enough superlatives, Jennifer Jones. Um, Even while working on the show, I don't know if anybody in the show knew exactly what the show was or meant. I can say for sure that a lot of audiences didn't exactly know either. um, but it was a great time. It was a great time. It was a great time, and immediately, um, even just from the first show at Detroit Rep, I felt that sense of home. Um, if you happen to be an actor, if you happen to work in the theater scene, you'll notice a lot of theaters like to sort of pitch you on this idea that, oh, we're a family. Oh, this is your home. Treat this like your home. We belong together as this unit. And you sort of quickly discover that that isn't true at all. And what is pitched to you as this sort of idea of family is more ultimately a loyalty test. Will you stick around with this theater? Will you, be a front for this particular theater? Whatever, whatever. That isn't the case with the Rep. The Rep is well and truly a home. Um, if you've done one show, if you've done 15 shows, um, you are a part of the Detroit Rep family. If this is your first time walking in the doors as an audience member, if you happen to have a gold colored pledge pin, um, you are still a member of the Detroit Rep family. So that is truly astonishing. Um, on Brother of All was also my first experience with, for my money, the greatest experience that I've had as an actor, and I've gotten to have it 4 times so far, which is performing in Detroit Repertory Theater's neighborhood nights. As someone who believes very strongly personally in democracy in the arts and the idea that arts should be for everyone and should be affordable for everyone as much as possible, um, the fact that Detroit Rep still does neighborhood nights where it's literally like, "Would you like to see a show?" Do you have a couple of dollars? Come on in. Come on in. We just want to get this show on its feet in front of an audience. We want to see what the reaction is." And oh man, the reactions, like people cheering and laughing and calling out. Um, it's phenomenal. It's an electrifying experience. You always hope that what you do connects with people, but to have in Detroit Rep, like an audience of theater goers of the community in the community who love theater and who love the rep and who are there just excited to see whatever you're going to put on in front of them. Um, it's amazing. I love it. Um, I can't wait to get back to that. Let's see. The next show I did after that was Buzz, um, by Richard Strand. That show was cool for me just because that was the show that proved to myself, that acting was something I could do professionally. I was sort of partnered on that show, along with Rita Leigel and Kaniki Jones with Wayne David Parker, Daba. He was the person that I shared the majority of the stage time with. Who, of course, if you know Michigan theater, Daba's a professional. At that time, I still felt like a complete novice. Um, and the way the script was written, we were sort of co-leads on that show. And the first 30 pages of it were just he and I alone on the stage. And I just sort of had this feeling in the back of my head. Um, if this show doesn't work after the first 30 pages, they're not going to blame Daba. They're going to blame this guy. But that was also my first time working with Harry Wetzel as a director. And I don't know why, but for some reason we get each other. We understand each other very well. And he trusted me to take swings with that part that still to this day, thinking back on it, I'm like, I don't know how that worked or why it worked. It I guess it did. Um, But man, that was wild. But man, that's another thing that's really cool about Detroit Rep is working there, you feel free as an artist to try any and everything. Um, you know, in a way that I haven't really in most other spaces in Michigan. Because everybody has this, oh, well, this is how we should do this, and this is how you approach theater this way. Um, there isn't that with the rep. There isn't this particular theater needs to be exactly this thing, um, which is tremendously exciting and delightful, to get again the ability to play, and explore as an actor. The same thing happened with Herb the Green Knight, the next show I did. Uh, the most recent show I did at Detroit Rep was Firepower by Kermit Frazier. That show, in addition to being one of the best experiences I have had working on a show, um, because it was an all black cast and a black director, working on a script by a black playwright. That doesn't happen terribly often in Michigan. Um, that in and of itself was amazing. Getting to work with the cast I got to work with, again, David Glover, Jennifer Cole, Will Bryson, who I'd met on Brother of All, and we really did become brothers on that show. It was amazing. Um, Cassandra Freeman, who I did not get the chance to share the stage with. Um, but we became pretty amazing friends on that show. But that show was also cool because it demonstrated to me the willingness of Detroit Rep to practice what it preaches in terms of its messages, in terms of this idea, um, that theater needs to be inclusive, that theater needs to tell stories that you don't always see or that don't always get the attention and focus that they deserve, or the respect that they should have. My particular role on that show was Neil, who was the boyfriend of one of the main characters in that show, played by Jonathan West. And it was a play set in the 1980s. And Jonathan's character um, was very conflicted about coming out to his dad, and my character was, sort of going, "Hey, like, it's okay, just be who you are, be your true self." And at the time, I remember there being some concerns among, the cast, um, that because it was the first time I believe that a same-sex African American male couple had ever been depicted at Detroit Rep, that there might be some pushback on it from audiences. The majority of the time, that did not turn out to be the case. For the most part, audiences really appreciated all of Firepower, including the story of Neil and TC. They really appreciated those stories. I remember one particular matinee where there was a group in the audience who did react pretty viscerally to a scene in which Jonathan's character and I were coming home from a club and made out because couples do that occasionally. Um, and over the course of that scene, uh, 40, because the stage manager counted, 40 people wound up walking out like mid scene while I'm in the middle of, Jonathan and I having an argument with each other about where our relationship's going to go. And you could just hear the seats sort of flapping up and down. Um, and then the weird thing was they didn't just leave, uh, they hung around afterwards to, I guess, talk to Jonathan and I and express, their displeasure at the fact that we were playing a couple. Um, and particularly for myself, it was kind of crazy because as a member of the LGBT community, as a bisexual man, um, it was a little hard for me in a way it hadn't been before to sort of disconnect the experience of the show with the experience that I felt as a person. Um, but like to the Detroit Reps complete and everlasting credit. Um, I completely had the support of everybody in that building. I did talk to these audience members afterwards. And people can feel however they feel, that's okay. Um, but at a time when I personally was feeling vulnerable both on stage and in real life, um, I never felt anything less than the complete backing and support of the work that I was doing and of, the person I was off stage. Um, that meant the world to me. Um, and Detroit Rep means the world to me in a way that I genuinely can't say about any other theater that I've been lucky enough to work at. I've been lucky enough to work at different theaters, but I always feel so lucky every time I get to work with a rep. And then of course the summer festivals, doing Opossum's Tail, which gives me a chance to dress up as an opossum. Um, According to my mother, I look very cute. And, just have a good time out in the community. Again, connecting with the community because that's one of the things that Detroit Rep has always been about is community. Yeah, I don't know. I could say interesting things about a lot of theaters, but like top down, uh, Detroit Rep is spectacular, and I love it.